Well, good morning, everybody. It's Mike DeLuna here, and I'm bringing you another business spotlight, and this is our lender edition. And I have a special guest with me today, and you are?
Crystal Fabre with Republic State Mortgage Company.
Okay, so Republic State. And so my question is, tell us a little bit about Republic. Like, is it a local mortgage company? Is it nationwide? Like, tell us a little bit about some of the, we'll get into the services, but just more or less about the company.
Okay, yeah, Republic State Mortgage, we're a nationwide lender.
Okay.
We are a mortgage company, so we're not a broker. So we do everything internally.
So what's the difference between, I hear this a lot, like some people say, I'm going to go to my credit union, I'm going to go to my bank, or I'm going to go to a mortgage banker or like Chase or something like that. So what's the biggest difference between, you said it's a mortgage company versus like something like that type of institution? I think we should dive into that a little bit.
So we're a mortgage company. We're not a bank. So we offer a lot more services. And can do different types of products, which we may get into that more, later. We're not a broker, so basically we have our own underwriting in-house, processing, closing department. So we do everything internally, even funding our loans.
All right, so let's even go a little deeper there when we talk, because again, I want to like have this completely like dummied down, onion peeled back per se for our buyers, because some buyers get confused when we start talking about underwriting and things like that. So what's the biggest difference in having an in-house underwriting versus having somebody like in another city or state having to kind of underwrite your files? What's the biggest difference if you want to get into that?
To me, the best perk of having underwriting with Republic is, we have our underwriting staff and we send our files directly to them. We get conditions right then and go through processing. Where when you're a broker or, are brokering files out to other places, they don't have all the control. They're not their employees. They're sending it out. It's going through a third party. Okay.
No, that makes perfect sense. And while we're talking about third party, what's the biggest difference between a pre-approval and somebody actually being like 100% approved? I had that question one day. Somebody said, I have a pre-approval, but the other agent was explaining to them the difference between the two. So why don't you dummy that down for us? Like, Are there different stages in the pre-approval process? Like, let's talk a little bit about that before we get into products.
Okay. There are different stages. So you can just get pre-qualified when someone really just kind of viewed your credit, didn't really look over your income and said, hey, yeah, you look like you're pre-qualified to get a home loan.
Okay.
And then I don't really do that. Then you can dive into actually a pre-approval where we're going to pull your credit, get bank statements, review assets, review income, and actually formally run it through automated software system, Fannie Freddie, and actually get an approval. And then, a pre-approval, because the reason it's pre-approval is because we haven't submitted a full file to underwriting for a final approval.
Yeah, and so here's another generic question. Why is it so important for a buyer to be pre-approved before they actually go home shopping? Like, in your expertise, like, why would you give that? Because I've had some clients that say, when I find the perfect home, then I'll go ahead and get pre-approved. Some of them are scared that, if you run their credit a couple times, it's gonna hit their FICO. So what advice and why would you say, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer out there, make sure you're pre-approved first? Like, share that with us.
Okay, good question, Mike. So you should get pre-approved if you want to go look for a home. For one, you could get discouraged or get let down if you're looking for a $300,000, $400,000 home that you're nowhere near qualifying for. So you go and obtain a pre-approval, and you know exactly the money that you need, exactly what, if you do need to ask sellers for some seller concessions, you're ready, you're ahead of the game, and you can go look for houses in your market, in your price range, and not just be blindsided looking at all the homes in the market that you might not even qualify for.
Yeah, that's a big one, because there are some really nice homes out there that have a price tag on them that might be above what, it might be your taste, but maybe you need to work a little more or have a co-bar or somebody else on the loan with you. So, I'm just kind of curious, like, we'll kind of dive into more of the products portion now, but like interest rates, they have gone up, and that's something that that's why I'm doing this show, because I want everybody to see what's available for you out there, even though rates have gone up a little bit. There have been some good news on the consumer price index and some other things that you follow. Inflation is kind of going down, which is a good thing. But my question is, as a lender, as a mortgage professional, what are some of the biggest challenges that you're seeing, that you're facing right now ending the fourth quarter and going into 2023? Like, what keeps you up at night, I guess, is my question from a lending
A
standpoint.
lot right now. So yeah, the rates, obviously everyone knows that the rates went up the end of this quarter.
Yeah.
Really the end of the last couple quarters. But they did, last week, I guess, they had a little announcement. Inflation did go down some, so it drove the prices down a little bit. Hopefully next week we have a better report, and by mid-year, first quarter, we see fives, maybe even fours.
Yeah.
Which is going to help, but again, it is inflation right now, kind of recession. There's tons of layoffs in the area, so it has a lot of people holding on to their money, and they're not wanting to buy. So it's a slowdown. It's slow. It's a lot slower than it has been in the past, to me, 5-6 years, maybe longer.
Yeah.
Most of the time people say the holidays are slow, but I disagree, because you're busy and you're burning at both ends, trying to commingle your family into, your work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the rates up, it has slowed the, buyers down, but really they should be buying right now. This is the best opportunity for a buyer to buy. And there's so many products out there that we offer. A lot of people are offering all the 2-1 buy down.
So why do you say they should be buying? Like, what, in your opinion, makes you feel like this is a good time to buy a home?
I mean, everything's trying to come down and normalize. So you're not going to see a market crash like what happened in '08, even though there's been talk about that.
Yeah.
I think people just are so, there was a lot of turmoil in '08. And so right now, with the rates being up, I think people started getting skeptical, and worrying about that.
So fear is what I hear you saying. Fear
Of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. Fear that, if I buy now and I deplete my savings account, then maybe, I won't have enough money to live. So let's immediately dive into products. So are there any programs out there, like grant programs or first-time home buyer assistance? I know you and I both do Homes for Heroes, so that's an option. But is there anything out there that you feel is something that is overlooked? Like, again, I use grants because there are grants out there that some of them are forgivable, some aren't. Mm-hmm. But what, in your opinion, do you feel like is the hidden tool or the hidden resource that a lot of people don't tap into when they're considering buying a home?
So obviously there is Home for Heroes. I mean, if you're a veteran or any of the Home for Heroes, I mean, you definitely need it. If you have an educated lender that's going to, first off, are you a veteran? You can get to a home for no money. There's USDA with no money down for certain areas. There's true first-time home buyer products, 3% down, and your FHA 3.5%. So there's all kinds of products. And then if you want to dive in, you can do down payment assistance programs. We do offer those. And they're grants. And you have to, the grants are nice because you qualify for them. You don't have to repay them back. You're not having a second lien slapped on your mortgage where you have a first and second, and later you can't afford the payments.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some other, you were about to talk a little bit about buy down before I asked you this other question, but what are some other resources? Maybe you can even dive into a buy down, or if there's any type of, I get this question a lot. Can family members help contribute to me having my closing costs? So if you want to even touch on like gift letters and things like that, just any idea or resource that you can maybe throw out there that a buyer may not have thought about, because naturally we only consider interest rates, but yes. I know there's more to it than that. So let's kind of uncover that. Like, give us some encouragement on some of the products that you feel like are real useful.
I mean, obviously, if you have a family member that's going to, is able to help you with your down payment, closing cost, that you can always do that.
Okay.
A family member, a friend, they've just lightened those rules up this past year.
Okay.
So they were strict to just immediate family, and now that's not the case. So
now, it can be anybody?
It could be, yeah. So you can have someone, gift you funds, write a letter. This is my friend. I'm gifting him to get into this house. It's not for repayment. Because that's the key. It can't be a repayment later.
Okay.
It's not a loan. It's actually a true gift that they're gifting you.
Yeah, okay.
To buy this house at, this address.
Okay.
And again, so that's a great option that we have. of course, that we already touched the grant money. There's the down payment assistance programs. There's other things where you can do first and second liens to get into a home.
Okay, how does that work without getting too technical?
Yeah, you can get technical in that. I mean, you're basically, going to finance a certain amount on your first and a certain amount on your second to have it. That way you're not, where it looks like you're putting 20% down.
And is there a grant on, like, if you say first and second, maybe a grant that covers the second? Like, are there grants out there or some sort of forgiveness programs? Is that what you were talking about in the beginning?
No, I was speaking more of in the beginning. There's a new program I've been working with one of our affiliates, and it's a true grant program, and there is no second lien.
Okay.
So, it's the income limitation. So you're going to get some of your lower income housing with they have decent credit scores. I mean, and I say decent, 580 even.
Wow.
560, and they can get in this program, and it's forgiveness. So there is no second lien placed on your home.
So on that, let me ask you this. So I think if I was watching this, my antennas would go up on what you just said, because there are some mortgage companies that consider anything under 620, or in some affiliates of mine 640. That's it.
Yes.
So you're saying 580 is up to 6 something income limitation. But for those single moms or those, I have veterans out there that qualify for Homes for Heroes and maybe even this program, you're saying that they can reach out to you, obviously, and you can see if they qualify based on income, credit, some other things for a grant program that's 100% forgivable.
Yes, so it is a wonderful product. You are going to have some elevated rates by it, but I mean, it gets you into a home. And later we can refinance you, because that's the whole key to this year. We've all heard it over and over again. You buy the house, you refinance later.
Yeah.
So, and it's exactly what needs to happen right now.
I would say just get in the game. Like if you're a home buyer wanting to play the game, you're on the sideline. Like, get in the game by any means necessary, and then later on, you can definitely refinance. And rates. Everyone I've talked to has said the same thing. Eventually, rates are going to go down. They may not be at the historic low that we saw, like 2s and 3s, but they are going to balance out. And at that point, you can refinance later. So moving on, through the products. I mean, obviously, you offer FHA, VA. Without again getting too detailed. What are some of the biggest differences between some of those loans that you feel like buyers need to know about before they actually even call you? Like, if you're VA, you have to be a veteran, obviously. But just touch on some of that, because I do have some first-time home buyers that have no clue of how all this works, and I like to educate as much as we can. So just maybe some of the high points of some of those loan products.
Okay. Well, I mean, your government loans, you're going to have a little bit more limitations for houses. So, you have a house that needs a lot of repairs and work, or rotted wood.
Okay.
Things not working, you're going to get called out for conditions for repairs. So if you have a seller that's not willing to maybe make some of these repairs for your buyer, then that might not be a product, that might not be the house for them.
Okay.
So that's where the lender and the agent need to work together to find the perfect home. Like, we do, you inform your agent, like, hey, this person's FHA.
Yeah.
And so, most lenders are educated and know that what houses are going to qualify.
Yeah.
Or they reach out to us to see if we feel like they'll pass the inspections from when the appraiser goes out.
Yeah. And I know I've had to do that numerous times with you, so I get it. So let me ask you, sort of concluding our podcast today. So I'm going to have, several lenders on the show, and I want a different perspective, hopefully, from all of them. But, everybody's unique and has their own value proposition. So whenever somebody out there is thinking of buying a home, what's the biggest reason why they should reach out to you? And we'll let you give your contact information in a moment. But why should they reach out to you? And what do you feel like you do differently than, say, the average, lender out there?
Thank you, Mike.
That's the Miss America question for you.
Put me on the spot. Yeah. So, I mean, I hope you reach out to me for all your home loan needs. I feel like I go above and beyond service-wise. I'm available pretty much 24/7. I try to always answer my phone. Even if I can't answer it, I answer text messages. We offer, with Republic, we offer so many products. And I feel like with my knowledge, I try to find the one that best suits the borrower. You have so many borrowers that call and think they need a FHA loan or think they want a USDA, when really that's not the loan for them. So just because someone calls for that product doesn't mean they need to be put into that. So I hope, with my experience, that it would put me a little bit above and help me, with the buyers.
Yeah, that's perfect. So do you have social media? What's your number if you want to share it? Or what's the best way they could reach you if they want to go ahead and do a loan app with you?
Sure, I have a Facebook, obviously, but you can always call me, Crystal Fabre, Republic State Mortgage Company. My number is 409-313-4340. And I'd love to talk with you.
Well, as always, guys, if you could like this podcast, I'm going to tag Crystal on it. Go ahead and share it. There's so much valuable information from people. And the last thing I want to, close off with is watch who you're receiving your information from, because, sometimes the media and other sources, Facebook, will tell you like that the sky's falling, and everybody I've talked to so far is telling you that there are like she's just uncovered a product that I was unaware of. Grants out there, the rates are in some cases higher, sometimes they're not. We didn't really get into buy downs, but there's an option for you. Don't let rates deter you from buying a house. Call these professionals and share your information, share your situation with them, and they can navigate you through it, whether it's you need some credit help or whether you need some employment help or a gift from somebody. They can walk you through it. They do this all day long, so don't hesitate. So thank you so much for watching. Like it, share it, and we appreciate you tuning in. Bye, everybody.
Bye.